actually Yuki. Or maybe I'm not. It's kind of complicated. Yumi and I are actually sharing the same body, but originally we were different. It all started half a year ago. There was an accident, and I remember being ran over by a car. The next thing I knew, I was somehow in my sister's body. We share the same experiences, but it seems like our thoughts are different, and we keep switching around like this. My sister tells me it's okay, that it can't be helped, but I'm sure I'm causing a lot of trouble to her. She's been hiding my existence, and we've been living like this.
She was on the verge of tears, with her fragile form shivering on its own. I don't care, even if Yumi's probably going to beat me to a pulp later. I embraced her and held her against my chest as she cried. I was probably the first person to find out about all this, though I couldn't really say that I understood it completely even after her explanation. I lost my sense of time as I held her against myself, until she finally spoke to me again.
There's a place I would like to take you to.
Not a single word was said as I followed her. Meanwhile, I couldn't stop thinking of what she had said earlier. If I were to take her words seriously, it would mean that she was either a lunatic or... I couldn't even come up with a proper expression. The only way it could be described was as something supernatural. While I had met both Yuki and Yumi before, and neither of them had seemed like lunatic material, I still couldn't comprehend the other explanation. The two of us took a bus to the next town, eventually arriving to the local hospital. I waited by myself at the lobby while Yuki had a word with the receptionist. After a few minutes, she returned, leading me along the white, soundless corridors of this hospital ward. Long-term care, read the sign that hung above us as we continued forward silently. There was something gray and melancholic about this atmosphere. I dared not ask her where we were headed, but I already had a hunch by now. She led me in front of a single room and opened the door. Inside, it seemed like the place had somehow been removed from the rest of the world. A girl lied on the bed, surrounded by various types of machines and monitors. The ventilator pumped air with a constant pace, while an IV machine recorded her condition with various numbers and graphs. The whole room was sickeningly clean and devoid of any life. If Yuki really was living inside her sister's body, I could only imagine what she must have felt like seeing herself like this.
Somehow, it's kind of weird when I realize that I'm supposed to be looking at myself.
There was a short pause, as if she was gathering her courage, before starting her explanation.
I already mentioned that I was in an accident, right? According to my sister, there were various operations to save me. While all of them should have been successful, my body is still in a coma, and all this has been going on for half a year already. My sister was devastated, and I think she feels responsible for protecting me. But I'm sure that she's been suffering much more than I have.
I watched as her expression slowly grew from confused to saddened, but she still forced herself to continue.
Yumi, she asked her parents if she could move on her own. While they thought it was because of her memories, I'm sure it was also because she wanted to protect me. If anyone else was to know, I'm sure they wouldn't understand.
While I tried to imagine how another person would react to all this, I wasn't all too sure about myself either. To Yuki and Yumi, I was practically an outsider, someone who just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe that was why I could act as calmly as this. I'm sorry. As she cried, I could only hold her while apologizing time after time. Honestly, just what am I supposed to feel about all this? Afterwards, I also learned that Yumi had been skipping class while Yuki was in control. At the same time, Yuki herself would only spend her time by reading at the school library. Yumi had thought it would at least be possible to let Yuki join the literary club while using her name, but as it turns out, the literary club had already been disbanded. Yet another morning, just before class, Yumi surprised me from pondering Yuki's condition. That's right, she had also seen all that from yesterday, at least according to their story. For myself, I still wasn't all too sure. A girl sharing the body of her sister? Yeah, right. Naturally, I kept all these thoughts to myself.
About yesterday. Hopefully I don't need to remind you that you can't tell this to anyone.
And those were the first words out of her mouth. Not that anyone else would believe the story, though someone might think of sending her off to a psychologist. So it was no wonder when I found myself hesitating for a little while. After school was over, I once again headed to the school library for the unofficial literary club meet, with a total member count of 2. Or should that be 3? Meeting her again like this, just what was I supposed to say to her? I want to help her, but Yumi insisted that everything should remain the way things used to be. I guess in the end, I should still trust Yuki and Yumi and let them deal with this in their own way. I figured that's what a true friend should do anyway. Hi again, Yuki. How's your story coming then?
Sorry. I haven't started yet, actually.
However, she seemed pretty excited nonetheless, as if she was itching to get started. Maybe it was my support that she had actually been waiting for. As if. Soon enough, Yuki would start writing, scribbling on a tiny notebook with a pencil. Her pace was pretty slow as she would only write a word or two at a time, pondering each for several minutes. Naturally, you'd get sort of curious on what she was pondering on so deeply. So, what's it about?
No! You can't see it yet.
Give me a break, Miss Ryder. We were gonna put that on the newsletter eventually, you know? Either way, Yuki seemed to have a pretty good idea of what she wanted to do. Meanwhile, I was still trying to figure out what to write about. But the problem was, I didn't even know where to start. It is often said that you should just write about what you know, but at the age of 16, it's not like I would have experience with all that much to begin with. I feel that I had just barely got over that embarrassing phase when I thought of myself as more unique than anyone else. But after accepting this much, what was left of myself? Thinking along those lines, I wandered inside my mind's scenery without a direction. Just when I thought that I had found a clue of some sort, I lost the sign of it again. Then, hearing a voice, I snapped out of my daydreams and back to reality.
If you'd like to read it.
She passed the notebook my way, and I saw a passage of words written haphazardly, with rubber stripes here and there.
The girl was broken, incomplete. Whether she had been that way from the beginning, or if something had happened to her in the past, the girl could not tell, for she had no memories. As she turned her head, she realized her right arm was missing. Only a short stump remained attached at her shoulder, with various cords coming out. Plenty of other parts were missing as well. The girl had no legs, only her left arm was functioning properly, and most importantly, she had no heart. The girl was mechanical, a machine. There was a mountain of wreckage in the middle of the cold, desolate wasteland. Perhaps the girl had been abandoned here, or maybe someone else had tried to put her together from the various mechanical parts left here. Either way, the girl was alone.
At first, I was surprised when the broken girl turned out to be a robot or something along those lines. But as I kept reading, the image of a wasteland at the world's end was painted before my eyes. There was something infinitely lovely and melancholic about all this. I had to wonder if there was some deeper meaning with the girl and this bleak gray world. Whoa. That's a bit...
I wanted to write it so that it would surprise the reader.
Well, that's what she did. Still, I couldn't bring myself to ask about the story itself.
It's a dream that I once saw. I didn't know what to make of it, but I thought that writing it into a story could help.
I see. As if I really did. It's more like I was too confused to say anything even remotely smart. Either way, that's how the day unfolded.